Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So in today's tutorial, we're going to go ahead and do a very simple project. You're going to go ahead and create a digital clock using Python and using the Tkinter library in Python. So if you know what the Tkinter library is, I hope that's how it's pronounced. So this library is just a library that is used to make graphical user interfaces in Python, so GUIs in Python. So if you probably want to create a GUI in Python, you're probably be looking at using Tkinter. So in this tutorial, we're going to use Tkinter to create a simple clock in Python. So let me just show you how the clock is going to look like. So I'm just going to run this, and this is going to open up the digital clock, and just a digital clock that shows time on your local machine. So you can see how the clock is going to look like, and this is very simple application that you're going to create. So if you guys are new to the channel, please kindly consider subscribing, liking this video, and sharing this content to anyone who you think might find this helpful. So let's jump into it and let's get coding. Yeah guys, welcome back. So let's get into it and let's begin to code. So the first thing you need to do is to install Tkinter on your local machine. So to install Tkinter, this can be different for different operating systems. I'm on Linux machine. I'm using Ubuntu. So I'm going to leave this link in the description so you guys can read about how to install Tkinter on your machine. By default, when you're installing Python, it gives you an option to install Tkinter on some operating systems. But if you don't have it installed, don't worry. This documentation is going to help you to install Tkinter. So if you're on a Linux machine, I just simply use this command and I got Tkinter installed. So if you're on a Windows machine, which most of you are, or if you're on MacBook, the commands are here. If you're on Windows, you can install Tkinter using Python. So I'm going to leave this in the description. And now that you're here in the Visual Studio Code, I'm going to go ahead and import Tkinter. So I'm going to say from Tkinter import. I'm going to go ahead and import everything. So I'm going to import everything. I'm going to use an asterisk there. Once I have Tkinter imported, I'm also going to go ahead and import another thing. So I'm going to say from Tkinter. So I'm going to say from Tkinter tkinter.tkk. I'm going to go ahead and import the following. So I'm going to go ahead and import everything as well. So I'm going to import everything using the asterisk, and then I'm also going to go ahead and import the time modules from Python. So I'm going to be using the string format time for displaying the time on the clock. So I'm going to say from time. I'm going to go ahead and import strf time. Okay, so as the string format time. Okay, so once I have that imported, just ignore this importation errors. That's because I haven't activated my virtual environment, so that's why I'm getting these errors, but it's all fine. So once I have that imported, I'm going to create a root. Okay, so I'm going to call root, and this is going to be tk, just like this. I'm going to create an instance of that. So this is tk, just like that. So the T is capital uppercase and the K is a lowercase. Okay, so once I have that created, I'm going to give the root application a title. So I'm going to say title, and the title is going to be the following. So I'm going to say basic clock, just like that. So basic clock, let me get that spelling right. So once I have the basic clock created, I'm going to create a function, and this function will be called every time and then update the UI, and this function is simply going to return to us the string format time. Okay, so I'm going to call it def. I'm going to create the def. I'm going to call it str underscore time. That's going to be, it's going to take in no parameters. So this function, what it's simply going to do is going to get us the time. So I'm going to say str format. Okay, format is going to be equals to strf time, and then you're simply going to do passing the format that we want. So this is the format that you're going to go. I'm going to show how to do this getting the 12-hour clock time and also the 24-hour clock time. So I'm going to get the 12-hour clock times first. So I'm going to say percentage sign, percentage, and then a capital I, and then I want dot, and then I want percentage capital M for the minutes, and then a dot, and then percentage a capital S for the seconds, and then I want whether it's AM or PM. So I'm going to use percentage and then small letter P. That is going to get us the time format that we want. So once we have this time format, we want to display it on the UI. So I'm going to create a simple label so that you can display it inside of the root application, right? The root window. So I'm going to create a label here, and I'm going to create a label, and I'm going to say it's going to be from label, and then I'm going to pass in the following. So I want the label to be displayed on the root, and then I want the font to be the following. So I want the font to be the following. So the font is going to be the following. So the font is going to be a string, and you're going to say, I'm just going to use any very basic font. So I'm going to use Helvetica. I hope that's how it's pronounced. Helvetica, like I got the spelling right. And then I want the font size. I want the font size to be 80. And then I want the background to be black. So just go here and then say background. So background. And the background, sorry, let's get background. Okay, I can spell background. So background is going to be a string of black. So I'm going to make the background to be black. Okay, so once I have the background to be black, I also want the foreground to be the foreground. I'm going to use a cyan color. Okay, so foreground and foreground I'm going to use cyan, just like that. So that should get us done. So once I have the label, I'm going to now go ahead and pack the label. Okay, so let me just go ahead here and then say label dot pack, just to display the label. And I'm going to anchor, I'm going to anchor it to the center. Okay, the center of the window. So once I have this label, I can use this label here and display the content, the date on that label. Okay, instead of the root window. So I'm going to go ahead and say label dot config. Okay, label dot config, and I'm still going to go ahead and say the text. So the text is going to be the following. So the text is going to be the str format, just like this, the string format. And then that's all I want. And then yeah, so that's all I want. And then I can specify the area of the label. So I'm going to say label dot area, label dot after, label dot after, and the after is going to be is going to update after every 1 second. So that's going to be 1000 milliseconds. And then you're going to after it displays, you just want to go ahead and call this function called the strf underscore time, which is a function that we define here. So after every 1 second, this label is going to update, and it's going to call this function, and this function is going to get the date right inside, and then call after every another 1 second. So it's going to display after every 1 second. So once we have that, I can just go ahead and say do str time, just like this, and call this function, which is this function right here. So it's going to do this, get the time, plot it on this label, and then update it after 1 second. Okay, so after that, I'm going to simply start the main loop. So just start the main loop just like this. So this is all we need. So let's go in the terminal and try to run this. So I'm just going to my terminal, and I'm still going to go ahead and run this. So I'm going to run this again, and let's see what we get. So I have an error here in importing my Tkinter. So you guys probably noticed this, but okay. So I have 2 imports here, so I just have to delete that one. And Tkinter.t this is .ttk, so my bad. So sorry for that error, .ttk. Okay, so all those import errors are gone. So now we have that, we can just go ahead and run the application again. So once I run the application, a window should pop up, and inside of the window we should have our time being displayed, and the time should be updated after every 1 second. So you can see the window just popped up here, and this is the time information right here. So this is in the 12-hour clock time. So you can see my time is 2:56, and if you look at my time here, it's 2:56, and it is PM, right? So it displays properly. So I can just close it and show you how to write the time in 24-hour clock time if you guys want that. So to write it in 24-hour clock time, I'm just going to comment this out, and I'm saying going to str underscore format, and this is going to be strf time. And in here, going to go and put in the time, the format that you want. So I want a percentage sign, capital H, and then a colon, and then I want to go ahead and specify the format that I want, the minute. So percentage, capital M, and then I want the second, so I want a dot, and then the second, so percentage, capital S, and then I want a space, and then I want the 20, whether it's AM or PM, so I'm going to use capital P there. So it's going to give us the time in 24-hour clock time. So now it should be 14:57 instead of just 2:57. So you can see now that displays here properly. So this is how you can create a simple clock in Python. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, give this a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share this content with anyone who you think might find it helpful. And if you have any recommendations, suggestions, let us know in the comment section below. I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep safe.